Welcome back to Sports on Tap. It's our Ohio High School football coverage. Week 3 recap. I'm Rob Trump. We have Josh Epiedic, Sean Duffy.
Yes, sir.
We're also part of NEOSportsInsiders.com. You can check all our podcasts there, or SportsOnTapPodcast.com if you want all of our videos, podcasts, our Game of the Week coverage, standings, schedules, everything is right there. SportsOnTapPodcast.com. And also check our Facebook and Twitter page. Our Twitter is @SOT Podcast. But, guys, let's jump into our Game of the Week.
YouTube.
Also YouTube, where we have our podcast and Game of the Week footage, our video highlights that you can see with interviews from coaches and players.
Yes, sir.
But our Game of the Week coverage featured the Solon Comets. They come in 2-0 against the Stow Munroe Falls Bulldogs at 2-0. And this game in the first quarter I thought was fun to watch. Maybe not for everybody who likes to see a ton of offense, which we've seen in a lot of our games this year. But this first quarter ended at 0-0, and I thought Stow kind of was on the offensive a little bit. They had a few solid drives that got into Solon territory, and Solon's D really clamped down, and Stow couldn't get far enough.
I agree with you, Rob. I also think that they had a lot of penalties and a lot of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back, however you want to put it. It just seemed as every positive thing was followed by another negative thing, and it really cost them. They were in some really long down and distance, behind schedule, and they were not really. I mean, Corian Rice was very impressive as the quarterback for Stow there, but it just seemed like they were not in rhythm at all.
Well, like you said, it's tough to get in a rhythm when you have so many penalties kind of setting you back a little bit.
And on both sides of the ball. I mean, Solon came out, and Stow's defense came to play Friday night. They let a couple plays get by them. They made, I think, 2 mistakes. So Stow did. Stow's defense made 2 mistakes on the night. That's it. And that was reflected in the scoreboard. They were pretty much lights out from the beginning to end, aside for those 2 mistakes.
Well, and Solon had a good drive in the second quarter. They're trying to get Wilkes, Solon's running back, Thomas Wilkes, really going a little bit, and he struggled to break free ever. And when he did break free, Stow stripped the football. It was about midfield, and he had a nice run, and then it seemed like Stow's defense held him up for a little bit, stripped the ball, and still recovered at midfield.
Yeah, and, one of the things that I was impressed with, and I commented to Rob, we were down there, Stow's defense, again, was just flying to the ball. They were, anytime Wilkes or they dropped back to pass, it just seemed like Stow was in the backfield or just getting to the ball. They were not letting Wilkes get those yards after contact. And, when they hit him, he went down for the most part. And, I think that's how you got to beat Solon. If you could stop the running game and force them to pass, you want them to do that, because if they can control the clock and run the ball with Wilkes, I mean, they don't need to score 50 points. They'll win 14-0. They don't have a problem with that, because on the flip side, they have a pretty good defense as well, who kept Stow, at bay for the first quarter, but couldn't overcome. I mean, the turnover at the 48-yard line, and then one play later, Corey Rice is throwing a ball to Terrian Ray.
Terrian Ray, the running back,
who I thought he scored the touchdown, but apparently he was down the 1-yard line, and then Ray finished it up with a 1-yard touchdown run there, and just like that, Stow was up 7-0, and the second quarter just begun, and then they would tack on another field goal by
Gavin Costello hit a 35-yard field goal.
Who missed a field goal
early in the
game, and you got to wonder what that does to a young kicker. You miss a field goal, and I think they were about the same distance, 35 yards.
Yeah.
So he had a chance to redeem himself there. And, you kind of felt that this was going to be a run, not really a high-flying passing offense. It was going to be a rough, tumble second half. But, boy, were we surprised. We came out after the second half that Solon got the ball. And, Rob, tell him what happened, because you were about step for step with him at one point trying to get it on video.
Well, there was a lot of scoring in the second half. But before we go to that.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk we had a chance to talk to head coach Mark Norrie, who talked a little bit about the first half and how they started a little bit slow.
Well, I think in our situation, for some reason, we've been coming out to a little bit of a slow start. I don't know if we're 100% sure of ourselves, and it takes us a little bit to get going. And we had a lot of new faces and new places, so It's the first time that our kids are challenged every time we take the field. So, with a team like Solon, they're so well coached and they do such a great job that, I think the nerves were a little bit on high in the first quarter there.
And that's head coach of the Stow Munroe Falls Bulldogs, Mark Norrie, who was commenting a little bit on the first half. And he said they had a slow start, maybe in the first quarter, but, they took the lead 10-0 in the halftime. And like Sean said, Solon, though, in the third quarter, in the second half.
First play from scrimmage.
Yeah, and we talked about getting Thomas Wilkes going, and he definitely did. 86 yards for a touchdown. Stowe still led 10-7 early in the third quarter, but that was just one of the big plays. And then, like you said, I was trying to get back and get my camera ready.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, quarterback Joe Cardellone hit wide receiver Trayvon Raphael on a 73-yard touchdown pass. And I'm just getting in position, and another big play hits. It was 14-10 Solon in the third quarter there.
Like I said, two mistakes by the Stowe offense or defense. I think Thomas Wilkes got a couple of great blocks by his offensive line, and it sprung him. And as soon as he got out in open space, he was you could tell the guy was quick. Just as soon as he got free, he was gone. And it was a very impressive run. And the same thing with the pass from Cordellone
to Raphael.
Raphael got loose on the outside. He had a height advantage over the corner, and Cordellone dropped it right in there, and he was gone.
Perfect.
And it was a perfect pass, and it was a perfect reception. He was gone, and just like that, now Solon's up 14-0. And keep in mind, Rob and guys, this was the second offensive drive for Solon in that in the third quarter. So these points came quickly, and immediately in my head I thought, okay, here's where Solon's going to kind of establish control. But to the credit of the Bulldog defense, the remainder of the game was pretty much, from a defensive standpoint, pretty much a shutout. I mean, the Bulldog defense stouted up, did not allow, some key fourth down conversions that would have helped. I mean, after Corian Rice ran for the 2-yard touchdown and made it 17-14, Solon had some opportunities. They were on the Stowe side of the ball, or the Stowe side of the field, but that defense would just not let Stowe convert on. There was 2 fourth down conversions late in the fourth quarter that just that Stowe just made great plays on. I mean, there's nothing else to say. So my hat's off to the Stowe defense for really securing that victory. When the offense did just enough to win.
Yeah, and, Stowe easily, you could feel the momentum changing with the 2 touchdowns by Solon to take the lead, and it seemed like the tides have turned, but Stowe still came out, and Corian Rice, led him down the field, scored that touchdown, and secured the victory. And like I said, this was a great defensive battle.
Yeah.
Not a game where, you're putting up 60 to 70 points, but a low-scoring game, and Solon on the year now 2-1. As they get into Greater Cleveland Conference play now, and just impressive overall. Still, Solon played a great game. Thomas Wilkes finished with 122 yards and a touchdown. Stowe is 3-0 on the year, and they'll get into Suburban League play. And it was Corian Rice who finished with 104 yards passing, 81 yards rushing, and a rushing touchdown. Terrian Way had 18 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown in the victory. And we had a chance after the game to talk to Corian Rice, who's the quarterback for Stowe, and he talked a little bit about how he connected with Terrian Ray, his wide receiver, on a long pass play.
Well, we wanted to get Terrian, was one of our fastest guys, one-on-one with our safeties. So with Terrian, he got good cuts, he got good routes. So when I seen him open, I had to give him a good ball.
How big was this win for you guys now as you move forward? You guys were up 10-0. Solon came back, took the lead, and then you guys responded.
Yeah, well, we responded against Middle Lake Catholic week 1, so we're good with responding and coming together as a team, and this was just really, really big for us. We needed this win, just to tell everyone that we're not going to lay down just because all our seniors are gone from last year. So we just proved that we got skill and talent just like other groups, and we can play and compete with them as well.
And that was Corian Rice, and sorry for the background noise there. We were actually in the locker room.
Yeah.
Afterwards. It's crazy in Stowe. They go straight to the locker room after they play the fight song, and, tons and tons of people wait for them afterwards. So we were escorted very nicely into the locker room, waited for the coach, and got Corian Rice, who was nice enough to speak to us, and he talked a little bit about connecting there.
Yep.
And like I said, it was impressive to see these guys not fold when they got down 14-10, and the roles were changing a little bit from the first to the second half. And a big win for Stow. I think that's a big one. We talked a little bit when we were on ESPN Radio, High School Hysteria, about points. And I think for Stow, this could be a pretty big one with getting some points off of Solon, because Solon always a very good team that's going to put up a lot of wins.
And speaking of points, one of the things I didn't bring up when we were going over the recap of the game, one of those fourth down conversion stops that Stow, completed was on their own 18-yard line. And the coach for Solon decided at that point they wanted to go for two instead of kicking a game-tying field goal. And you got to wonder if that comes back at the end. And again, they also, one thing that kind of put Solon behind the eight ball there was they had to blow 2 timeouts within the first couple of minutes in the third quarter. So they only had 1 timeout in the fourth quarter to really work with. So when they had an opportunity to put points on the board, they decided to go for it in fourth down. I'm sure the next day the coach for Solon was probably thinking, what can I do? But, unfortunately, for them, they just could not convert on that fourth down. So that's one of the things that struck me as odd is that they were on the 18-yard line, and that's what, a 33-yard kick? 35-yard kick.
Jim McQuaid's the coach there, and he's been coached there a long time. A lot of times, and especially in the game, we didn't really see Solon's kicker a lot in the game, so maybe he, from that far out, with high school kickers, it could be tough.
Yeah.
Ed would know best with high school kicking. 33 yards may not seem like it's that far, but for a high school kicker, maybe he's not as accurate at 30-plus yards.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I agree with that. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
You
were surprised by it.
I was surprised because you're down by 3 and 3 points ties it up and forces an overtime, and you don't. But perhaps maybe they didn't have the confidence in the kicker, or they thought, now we could take, because they scored so willingly early on. Maybe they thought that the momentum had turned for them, but
right.
Stowe was able to stem the tide there, and really, I can't say enough about the defensive unit for Stowe. They were hard hitting, they were flying to the ball, they were hitting gaps, and they were playing really, really tough coverage on the receivers, not allowing Solon to really exploit any mistakes that were made. Again, 2 mistakes on the night, and you still come out with a victory. That's something to hang your hat on.
Yeah, I think the side-to-side defense we saw, when you saw running backs trying to go
east-west.
Yeah, the defenses were there before you can even turn up field. And I thought that was the impressive part. The linebackers were really quick, and even up front.
Defensive ends kept contained really well.
So it was a fun game to watch. Great atmosphere. A packed house. I think we parked in, I don't even know, in Hudson, I think.
Yeah.
And walked to the game because it was just crazy.
It was, they come out in Stowe, and they love their Bulldogs out there in Stowe. And you know what? Solon traveled really well, too. So, that was a really great atmosphere, and I wouldn't be shocked if those two, I believe they're in the same division, right? Playoff-wise?
They're in the same region.
So I wouldn't be shocked if those two met up again in the playoffs, because both of those teams played really well. It's just Stowe defensively played better and stopped Solon from really doing what they wanted to do offensively.
And thanks to the athletic director of Stowe, Kyle Feldman, for all his hospitality. They're helping us
absolutely
out throughout the night, and also Mark Norrie for talking to us, and Corian Rice.
Yeah, and those, by the way, those interviews that you heard can be seen on our YouTube page and on our website, sportsontappodcast.com. It's part of the video package that we put together and put on those websites. You can also see it on neosportsinsiders.com. So it's available in a lot of places. So if you're interested, please check it out. It's also available through our Facebook and Twitter pages as well. So check those out.
All right, real quick, the obligatory Fayetteville Rocket update. They are 3-0. Coach Kevin Finch down there in the Cincinnati Dayton Dish area. They got a 36-6 victory over Portsmouth Notre Dame. They actually played in the historic Portsmouth Spartan Stadium. This actually hosted the first NFL night game way back in the day.
There you
go.
Portsmouth does have a very, they do have a very early history of the NFL. So, very, very good on their part. They're going to host Hillcrest Academy next week. They are a 1-2 squad. and they'll be getting into the new conference play here. So congratulations to Coach Finch and the Fayetteville Rockets on their victory over Notre Dame, 36-6. They are 3-0 after week 3.
And my Vandalia Butler Aviators got whooped. Got whooped. 36-0.
Whoa.
Aviators.
I believe
Ouch.
was the score. Let me double check that. But yeah, it was not a. It was. Oh, I'm sorry. It was 59-35 as they lost. I'm sorry. That looked. At the
that's a
wrong
lot
score.
different than.
Yeah, they lost 59-35. They were at Wilmington. They unfortunately couldn't bring one back. But next week they play the hated Northmont Thunderbolts at Northmont, and guess what? I will be there. I'm not covering it. I'm going. I'm going to yell.
Actually, why don't you cover it while you're right?
Because I probably
as a fan.
Because I probably won't be of sound mind and body when I go there.
Oh, okay.
Hey, he wants to go there as a fan.
It's our big rival. So it's the equivalent to Brunswick Strongsville.
He doesn't want to be. He doesn't have
but
to
a
be,
much more grander.
He doesn't want to have to be responsible and
Yeah.
have to act somewhat rationally.
Right. And I don't want to be able to write words.
Perfectly understandable.
Do you know what would be cool? Let's set up the Vandalia Bulldogs versus Fayetteville here. Let's try to get that matchup rolling
How far
around.
are they away from each other?
I think 45 miles, but I think.
Vandalia is what? They are Division
3, Region 12.
Ooh, there's
Yeah.
Fayetteville is Division 7.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. A little bit of a difference.
I don't know.
I was going to say, let's meet in the middle and let's clash, folks.
It helps out Fayetteville, but doesn't really do much for Vandalia. But go Butler, go Aviators, beat them Bolts, and we'll see how we can do it.
And you'll see them very soon.
I think I'm going to that game. I'm not sure.
Oh, now he's changing.
I don't know.
You know, everybody was going to go to the game to see you.
No one's going to be there.
And
to
now
see
they're
me.
very disappointed.
I guarantee you, no one will be there to
Unbelievable.
see me. Plus, it's at Northmont. I don't know if I want to go over there.
Was it 10 minutes?
Not even.
Unbelievable.
Still, it's Bolt country, bro.
Proud alma mater, right
Well,
there.
great.
No, I'm just saying it's Bolt country, bro.
Great job, guys. Great Week 3 recaps all around. Suburban League, Greater Cleveland Conference, Southwestern Conference. Good luck to everyone on Friday playing their respected leagues and games.
We here at Sports on Tap will have the week off, unfortunately for us.
Bye week.
Bye week for us, but we will be back.
And better than ever.
The following week after that. We'll let you know next week. Tune in, same time, same bat channel, and we'll let you know Week 5 game of the week.
We will still post scores on the website
That's right.
as best we can, so make sure to let us know. SOTHSF, the hashtag.
Ed, you have some last thoughts? I saw something brewing over there.
Yeah, I thought about it. I'm good.
I was looking at a trade for fantasy
Hey,
football.
check out our Sports on Tap podcast.com website. We're Sports on Tap. Want to thank everyone for listening. Have a great week, everyone. For Josh, Jeffy, Ed Dick, Sean Duffy, I'm Rob Troutman. See ya.